think Thiru or Bob have any shot in hell of winning.
Fox 45 News continues our 2024 election coverage. 4 candidates still vying for the Democratic mayoral nomination in Baltimore. But right now, it seems nearly impossible for the two at the back of the pack to catch Sheila Dixon or Mayor Brandon Scott. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson.
And I'm Mary Bubala. According to a Fox 45 Baltimore Sun University of Baltimore poll, Thiru Vignarajah and Bob Wallace are polling at a combined 15%. Now, neither candidate has announced plans to drop out of the race, but if they did, it could have a massive impact on who wins the Democratic primary. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost spoke with a political analyst about this situation. She joins us live from the newsroom now with the very latest. Mackenzie.
Yeah, Mary and Kai, we know that Mayor Brandon Scott and Sheila Dixon are in a tight race. The pollster tells me he believes the other 2 candidates could be splitting the rest of the vote. So we asked those other 2 candidates if they plan to stay in this race all the way until the end. The latest polling shows a tight race for Baltimore's next mayor. Brandon Scott with 38% of the support. Sheila Dixon has 35%. The margin of error, 4.7%. Meanwhile, Thiru Vignarajah and Bob Wallace have 10% and 4% respectively.
On stage at the Murphy Fine Arts Center at Morgan State University.
So following a mayoral debate this week, we question Vignarajah and Wallace. Are you concerned that you staying in the race really could split the vote among voters heading into a primary day?
Well, first of all, the only poll that matters is Election Day. We're going to continue this race to the end.
At this point in the race, do you believe that that is a margin that you can overcome to see success?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we got in the race intentionally late because we knew that there was this appetite for change. You know, Brandon Scott and Sheila Dixon are household names for all the wrong reasons. The reality is that this is when elections come alive. This is when people start paying attention. And so for us to worry about the polls is a mistake to misunderstand the election.
But the polling data shows Vignarajah's comments about people not paying attention might not be accurate. 95% of people say they have been paying attention to the election, and 72% say they made up their minds on a candidate for mayor more than a month ago.
Those people that are really dissatisfied with things are being split.
Pollster Steve Robbie says 40% of people in Baltimore believe the city is going in the wrong direction.
Vignarajah is down at 10 points, so he's well back. But what's interesting is that he and Sheila Dixon are splitting a vote that one would think of as people who think the city's off on the wrong track.
With Dixon running on a platform of her plan to improve the city, claiming the current leadership is not working.
If one of those 2 candidates was in the race instead of 2 of them, this could be a different picture. But, you know, with both of them in the race, Brandon Scott right now is just kind of moving through that gap, and he's got enough support.
At some point, you have to realize, as far as for Thiru Vignarajah and Bob Wallace, when they get off the stage.
Political analyst John Dede says sometimes there are simply too many candidates. And in 2020, he says we saw what can happen. Incumbent Jack Young came in 5th in the Democratic primary with just 6.2% of the vote. Vignarajah had 11.5%. Brandon Scott pulled in 29.6%, or 43,927 votes. Dixon second with 27.5% and 40,782 votes. 3,145 votes separated Scott and Dixon. Dede says he believes Wallace and Vignarajah now are pulling votes away from Scott or Dixon, and at some point, he argues, people could start questioning the candidates' motivations.
In many ways, they're in the area of 2 things: perennial and spoiler.
And voters, Dede says, might change their minds when it comes to fill out their ballots based on the reality of the political landscape and the likelihood of their candidate actually winning. Now, early voting is set to begin in just 2 weeks, and then the primary election day is May 14th. We're live in the newsroom. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for watching. Here's another video to watch. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel.